I'm a big fan of the rhythm game genre, and in particular the Guitar Hero and Rock Band games. Now there hasn't been a release in either of these franchises since 2010. This fact, coupled with the decreasing sales and popularity of these franchises, caused many people to speculate that these types of games were dead. Then out of the blue, Harmonix announced Rock Band 4, and Activision followed suit with an announcement of Guitar Hero Live. Obviously neither of these franchises are dead, at least if you're watching this now, and both have new games launching in the coming weeks. But I do think there are a few reasons we haven't heard from these games in 5 years. First and probably foremost was oversaturation. If you include the DJ Hero games and the various portable releases from each franchise, Harmonix and Activision combined to release 35 Rock Band and Guitar Hero titles between 2005 and 2010. I'm serious, look that up, check Wikipedia. 35. The American economic downturn that occurred at the end of the last decade certainly didn't do any good to either of these franchises that require players to buy relatively expensive accessories. Plus, I think some players decided they didn't want to have ridiculous Fisher-Price looking plastic instruments cluttering their living space anymore. I think that last point still holds true in 2015, but there obviously hasn't been any oversaturation in a while, and the US economy is doing better, which is why I think we're now seeing releases from these franchises. So what do I want to see from either Rock Band 4 or Guitar Hero Live? Let's take a dive into one of my all-time favorite rhythm games, Rock Band 3, and examine some of the things I think it does well and some of the things it does not so well. Let's get the bad things with Rock Band 3 out of the way first. This game has an obsession with realism and wanting the player to learn real instruments. This is fine when done well, and a game like Rocksmith shows how this concept can be pulled off successfully. But Rock Band 3's execution of this was way too complicated. Rock Band 3 introduced Pro Mode for guitar, drums, and its new keyboard accessory. Mad Catz partnered with Harmonix to sell a Pro guitar with 102 plastic buttons. There wasn't really a great tutorial for this instrument, and the strange chord notation was almost impossible to interpret at the speed Rock Band throws notes at you, especially for someone who has no actual experience playing guitar, like me. This was the same problem with the Pro keyboard, which expected the player to play a 25-button mini keyboard at full song speed. Now I actually like Pro drums, which added 3 cymbals to Rock Band's normal drum kit of 4 pads. I found it to be a welcome challenge as opposed to an impossible one. But aside from the drums, I think the whole Pro Mode experiment was a failure, especially when you consider that none of the older DLC or other imported songs supported the Pro guitar, and most didn't support the keyboard at all. They did strangely, however, support Pro drums. My speculation is that the songs were always encoded to differentiate between cymbals and drums, even though the original drum kits only had 4 pads. I think Harmonix has recognized this failure and has removed support for Pro instruments and the keyboard peripheral entirely for Rock Band 4, although they will continue to support Pro drums. The most awesome thing about Rock Band 3 is the massive library of DLC songs you have access to. If you include importable tracks from the previous entries in the series, the total number of playable songs is upwards of 4,000, which is pretty awesome, especially if Harmonix makes this library available again for Rock Band 4. You can be practically guaranteed to find something you'll like when browsing the online store. Rock Band 3 also introduces vocal harmonies, allowing there to be more than one vocalist, provided you have more than one microphone. Tracks that support vocal harmonies will show separate vocal tracks with separate lyrics for each singer. Another new feature is the ability for player to drop in and out of songs on the fly without restarting a track. This, combined with the ability to make song playlists and enable the no-fail mode, made it very accessible as a casual party game. Rock Band 3 also features an expanded career mode and a more in-depth character creator. All of these features combine to make Rock Band 3 a very full-featured and well-polished game. Despite its faults and its misguided attempt to integrate playing real instruments, Rock Band 3 is still the most fun I've had playing a rhythm party game. I've actually already played a pre-release build of Rock Band 4 at PAX, and I think it captures all of the great things that Rock Band 3 did well. If people are willing to dust off their plastic instruments and hook them up to their next-gen consoles, I think Rock Band 4 should do just fine. I probably won't buy it initially, as I don't even own a next-gen console yet, but I'm glad these franchises have been resurrected, and I'm looking forward to eventually playing more fake plastic instruments.